Hi class, this is my response to directions number 8. There are many stakes for constructing informational personhood and citizenship in the surveillance environments. Brown explained, in several cases, technology, surveillance, and a lack of privacy result in oppressive systems. The stakes for information, personhood, and citizenship in surveillance examples include facial recognition for shopping, as seen when Facebook tried it, but also more recently, Amazon Go had a similar concept. But they recently decided to close their stores as of this year to continue expanding online shopping and their partnership with Whole Foods. This type of shopping is based on an individual's trust levels, but also what relies on trust levels is all websites and apps have a terms and conditions that users must agree to in order to use those sites. Writing teachers can use this as an opportunity to teach their students how to decipher the terms and conditions and determine if they should use it. Does it come with too much surveillance for the individual's preference instead of just scrolling all the way down to check off the box without truly reading it? Ritchie explained the presentations of data that are involved in the modes of arrangement. Ritchie said, surveillance scholars have pointed out how fusion centers, the intelligence centers, and the process SARs disproportionately target racial minorities for surveillance, but it is yet to be theorized why the fusion center's data aggregation is racializing itself. The information network built for the surveillance of suspicious objects or subjects is founded on racial anxiety. Racializing surveillance, fingerprint data, retina scans, and facial recognition, which are gathered and sorted according to prototypical whiteness. Common sense policing explains why Fusion Center workers believe the police should be able to use markers like race, ethnicity, and religion. As the saying goes, if you see something, say something. Police will monitor people who they believe could be a terroristic threat on social media, even if there's no evidence that they would do it. The police say that if you don't want to be monitored at all you have to do is make your profile private. But I'm sure there's a workaway around it, if they need to. Surveillance practices have shaped our capacities and incapacities for being democratic. In my opinion, it has created more incapacities. As said, since its emergence, surveillance studies have been primarily concerned with how and why populations are tracked, profiled, policed, and governed at state borders, in cities, at airports, in public, private spaces through biometric, telecommunications technology, CCTV, identification documents, and more recently, internet-based social networks. This was also stated by Ritchie. This has led to the incapabilities of being democratic together. For example, surveillance was used to keep track of slaves and to not let them to escape. Newspapers advertised missing slaves so people would keep an eye out for them and to bring them back to the slave owner in return for money. The first census was surveyed in 1790, which asked questions regarding the number of free white males, free white females, other free people, and slaves in a household. It was also done for racial surveillance. More recently, in a 2009 YouTube video, came out calling HP's computer cameras for not being able to focus on black faces. The epilogue asks the question, how is the frame necessarily reframed by centering the conditions of blackness when we theorize surveillance? Now, surveillance can be a good thing and keep our democracy safe, such as surveillance in prisons to ensure prisoners do not escape. Ordinary people need to be educated on what they are being surveillanced on. Before reading the readings this week, I did not realize how heavily surveillanced the human population is. The first step is to educate ourselves. The next step is to decide what a person is okay with being surveillanced and what they're not okay with. For example, a person should decide if they want everyone to see their social media or to keep it private. To an extent, an account may still not be private because we cannot control if someone shares or tags us in a post, so the individual needs to decide if they even want to be on social media. I wanted to end this presentation with a personal connection. Dr. Allen's book chapter made me think of the CBS TV show Big Brother. Remember watching it for a summer and being really invested in the contestants. They had an option on where someone could watch an extra few hours a day if they paid money on their website, but they're not permitted to watch the contestants 24/7. I didn't pay money to see any more of the show. I feel like there's plenty of footage, but I found it interesting how people could become obsessive, and that is why they did not allow them to watch all the live footage. I could see it being a safety issues when the contestants leave the show and someone decides maybe to stalk them because they become so invested in that one person. It is interesting how many TV shows and movies are about surveillance. I didn't realize that until after reading Dr. Allen's chapter. And people want to write about it because they want to explain how if we are not careful with surveillance, it will get worse and not be good for democracy. Thanks for watching.